if you embrace a different kind of life, then it will all comes naturally. It's not, you don't have to have the feeling that you have to try to do that, because it just happens.
Welcome to the Heads Together podcast. I'm Jill Mokes, and I am obsessed with cutting through the noise when it comes to growing your business. Each week, via intimate coaching conversations and inspirational stories, I share what it really takes to get the results you want in a way that feels right to you. I am all about attracting higher ticket opportunities, building authentic relationships, and creating the abundant, full-fat version of your dream business. I mean, how many of us have beavered away creating a light version of what we really want? The thing is, I honestly believe when you're outstanding at what you do, there is no limit to what you can achieve. So, are you ready to put our heads together and make it happen? Let's go. Sandra, welcome to the Heads Together podcast.
Thank you, Jill. So good to be here.
Oh, I am so happy to have you here. We've been talking about making this happen for a while, haven't we? After we basically fell in love in Portugal.
It just took a short car ride, but that was...
It was a deep and meaningful car ride for me.
Yeah.
No, we had such fun, and you were so welcoming while Lauren and I were out in Portugal, and with Alicia as well. And you were so welcoming to us, and we had such a blast with you. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great time when you were here. And you have to
good.
come more often, because it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah.
So, Sandra, I'd love it if you tell everyone a little bit about yourself. I mean, the title of this podcast episode is giving it away a bit, because one of the things I really wanted us to talk about, and something about you that really intrigues me, is that you are a genuine multi-passionate entrepreneur. You know, you have fingers in a few different pies, and you manage everything just so seamlessly. So I was really keen to get you on to just talk about how has this come about? How have you ended up from Holland, and you're from the Netherlands, and you're now in the Algarve? Can you set the scene for us?
Yeah, of course. Well, I come from the Netherlands. I'm 58 years old.
I'm 55.
You're 55. Okay. Well, I'm a late bloomer. So when I started my business in 2016, I always wanted more than I was doing in the Netherlands. So I always wanted to have no boundaries. I think that's it. From going on a holiday here in Ferragudo to where I am now, working and living here in the Algarve, in Ferragudo, in a very small fisherman's town. A lot has happened in between, because when I always have felt the need to be somewhere where I could be me, and that's what happened here, and that's what's happening here, and that is also why I started Ferragudo Dreams. And with Ferragudo Dreams, I organize workations for entrepreneurs. So they can come here, and I can set up a program for them, or they can do it themselves. So they work with their team, or with their colleagues, or with relations, or whatever. And they come and work in the morning, and then in the afternoon they have some free time. I can also organize the activities for them as well. So we prepare a whole program together. So, and because in my experience, when I'm working here, there's a very different kind of energy, but I also have a lot of focus, because you mentioned I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur, and that's true. And here the passion comes out even more than it would have been in the Netherlands, because when I'm there, I don't feel the same as that I'm doing here. So, and that is maybe that's why that you feel that I'm doing everything easy and seamlessly.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's a struggle. But when I'm here in Ferragudo, in the Algarve, I don't feel that struggle. I feel the different vibe and the energy that comes from just being here. And it doesn't have to be that, because people say, okay, but that's because the sun shines all the time. But that's not true, because it's raining now. So, but still, I feel that energy, and that also drips through my other businesses, because I said to you before, the word niche is not really something that I live up to. I had a business coach once, and she said, you have to choose a niche. And I thought, why? Why do I have to choose?
You don't have to do anything you don't want to do.
No, because there's like a common thread through everything, and that is be the most I can be for entrepreneurs, to support them. I support them as an online business manager or as a social media manager, and the workations are also part of that, because then I can let the entrepreneurs see or let them feel how it is to work from another place. Right. So like I'm doing, I work from another home. And there is a difference. There really is a difference. And you can just stay in Europe. You don't have to fly too far. It's a 3-hour flight. You don't have to go to Bali or Thailand for 11 hours in the plane. So there's something close by where you can feel and find something that you don't have at your office in the UK or in the Netherlands or wherever, but you can find it here.
Exactly. And I just love this concept of a workation. I think it's something we've talked about. I definitely want to give that a go next year. I think it's such a great idea.
Yeah, because it's not just for groups. It's also for like when you want to write a book or something.
Yes, absolutely.
You just book one of my smaller accommodations, and you have a nice house in the middle of Ferragudo, and you just sit and you can relax and you can enjoy the environment and you can do anything, and you can work on your book. You can sit on the roof terrace and look over the river and write, because I think that you get a whole different kind of inspiration when you are here than when you are sitting at your desk somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And there is something about the Algarve. It is a slower pace of life, isn't it? It's a much slower pace of life. And I think as entrepreneurs, sometimes we kind of, when we're in our home environment and we've got our task list as long as your arm, we work at quite a fast pace. And I think you hit the nail on the head about the writing. If you've got a project coming up where it's going to call on your creativity, I think that's a perfect environment. That slower paced environment is beautiful for that. Yeah.
Yeah, but still you have that slower pace, because that's what I love about the Algarve, because I hate the rat race that people in the Netherlands are in. I think it's the same in the UK or in Germany, wherever, because there is a constant feeling of being pushed and perform, and you don't have that here. But here it comes naturally.
That's what I was going to say to you, was one of the other things you have, one of the other strings to your bow, you also host a podcast in Ferragudo.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned to me that really you started that as a way to show people coming to the Algarve for a workation, to show them that, there are entrepreneurs right there. There are people focusing on work, but they've got the balance. They've got they're working, but they're enjoying this slower pace and these beautiful surroundings at the same time. And so tell me about the podcast. So who do you interview on the podcast?
Well, it's called Ferragudo Dreaming Podcast, because it has a connection with Ferragudo Dreams, of course.
Sure.
So I interview entrepreneurs who live in the Algarve or have a connection to the Algarve.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe still live in the Netherlands, but are here for a couple of months a year. And they all have a goal. Like I want to be here because it gives me a good feeling. It gives me the feeling that my work is getting better and my business is thriving more. So I always ask those entrepreneurs, and they come from all different kinds of the world. They come from the States, they come from Portugal, they come from Germany, the Netherlands, they come from everywhere. And they all say, we are here because we want a better life, a bit slower, but with more quality. And that I get from everybody, because I ask this question. Everybody says the same thing. But the journey to that goal, to be here, is amazing. And I love to hear those stories. And that I think it's important for other entrepreneurs who don't know Ferragudo, who don't know the Algarve, and to know that, okay, it's not a sleepy fisherman's village.
I think in like the age we're living in now, we're so connected that I think it used to be this choice, didn't it, between being successful in your business or downshifting to a slow life.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be a choice. And I don't think it's a choice anymore. I don't think it's a choice.
No.
I don't think you're giving up any kind of vision of success if you do want to move or work for part of the year or whatever in somewhere like Ferragudo. You're actually just multiplying your options. You're just giving yourself more.
Yeah, but if you embrace a different kind of life, then it will all comes naturally. It's not, you don't have to have the feeling that you have to try to do that, because it just happens.
And that must be part of why you are now able to work across, really, I see you as having 3 distinct strings to your bow, I guess. So you have Ferragudo Dreams, which is obviously the workations, but then you also an online business manager and social media manager. And also, and I know this because I've worked with you on this, which is you do these color power assessments, which are phenomenal. So for everyone listening, when Lauren and Alicia and I were hosting the 2023 Unapologetic Retreat in Ferragudo, Sandra came and worked with the 3 of us to do these color assessments, and it was absolutely amazing. You know, I don't know how you do it, but, you know, we did some pre-work, didn't we? We did some kind of answered some questions, quite a few questions. And then from our answers, you went away and pulled together this assessment of which colours are. Well, can you explain it a bit? Just like why it's good to know these colours and how you use that knowledge.
Yeah, well, you start, what you said is right. You start with doing a test. It's the personal power test. You get 40 questions. So it's quite a lot, but the results from these 40 questions are being generated in a report. And the colors, and we use the personal power method. This means that we use 10 color families, and we also use the elements. So air, water, fire, and earth. So, and from your answers, the program generates your power color. So the color that is really you at your best, but also your balance color. Because if you have too much of your power color, then it will be overwhelming, not just for your environment, but also for yourself. Because then you feel, oh, I have to go. And when you have like a balanced color, and you can just, and you find the balance between the power and the balanced color, then it's the perfect combination.
So good. It's so good.
And what I do, for instance, I did the test myself before I became the color coach. What I do is, when I have a meeting or something and I stand in front of the closet, and okay, what do I need to wear? And red is my power color, but green is my balance color. So, and I said, okay, what do I want to, which side of me do they need to see? Who do I want to be when I come into the room? And if I need to get a deal or something like that, I wear red.
The lips.
And lipstick, red glasses,
Yes.
and my nails are always red.
Ha.
So there's also something green on me because I need a bit of balance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you do, because when you find out that this color that you get the most power from is, well, for me it was red, then, and you embrace that, then you can implement it in your personal life, you can implement it in your business life, and that gives you much more satisfaction and a better picture of you to the outside.
Yeah.
So it's not just for you, it's also for people too, because people remember a color, they remember a visual, they remember that more than that they remember your words. So you can say a bunch of stuff that makes a lot of sense, but the only thing they remember is what you were wearing. Oh, that was the lady in the red dress,
right?
For instance,
right.
Yeah, and what was she saying? I don't know, but she wore a red dress. Yeah. So that's, people remember that even more. They remember the visual.
It was so interesting and just so spot on for us as well, that I think we're all a little bit gobsmacked, weren't we? Like, this is so good.
Yeah, well, I love that it has so much impact on both of you, on three of you,
on all three of us. Yeah, definitely.
And I know that that Lauren, for example, she said, "Oh, I hope it's not lavender," and the color lavender came up, and she said, "Oh, I hate lavender. I don't want lavender." And it turns out when you keep talking that there's a lot of lavender in her house, in her garden,
because it isn't just about what colors you choose to wear. That's just one part of it. But she realized that actually she does naturally have lavender. Like in her garden, she would choose that color for her plants. So yeah, it was a really interesting exercise. And that's so that really is three really distinct different businesses, all kind of, I guess, also, like you say, there is a common thread because they are in some way or another all supporting entrepreneurs. But for you, it gives you this real wide spectrum of interests that you have and that you don't want to kind of negotiate on. You want all of them. So can you perhaps tell us a bit about how has that happened? I'm guessing with you that it's happened pretty organically, but how do you manage these three different strings to your bow, if you like?
A good calendar.
Yes. Like everything in life, a damn good calendar.
Write everything down, because I'm not 30 years old and my brain doesn't sometimes work anymore as a 30-year-old. But you need a calendar.
Yeah.
So you need to block things, because otherwise it will go like it's getting messy. So I block things.
That was something I was going to ask, because you and I are quite similar. So I come from a background of online business management as well. So I think probably we're both quite naturally organized people, for one thing.
Yeah.
Like I know I am. And I do think if you have that natural tendency to being quite organized, we are people who can get more done than most people could ever dream of getting done in a week. I know for myself, I can really achieve, when I really get down to it, I can achieve a lot in a week.
I can implement if somebody calls and says, "Okay, you do this for me," and I'm busy with something, because I'm also a creative person. So I'm making like visuals for my social media content, for example. And they ask, "Okay, you do that for me." I can do that because I know, okay, I can do this in between, and then I go back to what I was doing. So I think that's a bit of the organic organizing skills that we have. And I have this calendar and I make the blocks.
Yes, that was the other thing.
And that's a guideline. Mm-hmm. It's not written in stone. It's a guideline for me. Because if you don't have that flexibility, organizing is also having a bit of flexibility.
And actually, that's another skill, I think, as an online business manager that you really tend to develop, isn't it? Is flexibility to change the plan and be reactive when you need to be, I think is really important. So do you have like certain days when you do client work, or do you just kind of plan each week as it comes up?
I plan each week as it comes up because for now I have a client and I have to organize the website. So I put new content on and do some work on that. So I block like two parts of the week. So I did it on Monday morning and I do it on the Tuesday afternoon, for example. So, and he knows that. So I tell him, okay, when you can reach me Monday morning or Tuesday afternoon.
That's good. So boundaries again. Boundaries are another thing that are quite important, I think, as a business manager, aren't they?
Yeah, for yourself as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you don't have boundaries, you keep on working until 10 o'clock in the evening.
Right.
And that's something I don't want to do anymore because I used to do that in the beginning of my career. I used to work in the weekends. I used to work at night. And everybody says, yeah, but you're an entrepreneur, so you have to. Why? Why do I have to?
Yeah.
Because absolutely. I need my personal time as well.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? It's like, I think we all start our businesses with this goal of freedom. And so I see so many entrepreneurs who are less free than they've ever been in their lives. Yeah, something's gone wrong.
And especially now I'm living here in the Algarve. It's even more important to me now to have this time for me.
Yeah.
And if I want to work on my website, okay, and I do that after dinner, it's okay. That's my choice.
Yep. Absolutely.
But I don't do that because in the weekend, every Sunday morning, I go out the door and I walk to the beach and I have a walk and I have a nice coffee and because that makes me whole. So, and that's the perfect start of the Sunday for me.
Yeah.
Being on the water and seeing the ocean and just let my whole week pass by in my head. And then I can start anew on Monday.
Oh, and who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want that to be the way they start their week?
That's also how I promote the workations.
Yes. I was just going to say, as you were painting that picture, I was thinking, oh, yeah, that sounds so good. That sounds amazing.
Not in Rotterdam as well. No.
Not the same. No.
But it is the best feeling, knowing that you can do that.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That freedom word is a big one, I think, for entrepreneurs, because that's what everyone I work with, that's one of their top 3 goals. I don't think I've actually coached anyone who hasn't had that as one of their goals. And yet quite often when they begin working with me, they're so far away from that because they've created themselves a job. And one thing you said at the beginning of this conversation was that you have a different energy when you're in Ferragudo.
Yeah.
How is it different? How is it different? And what does that energy allow you to do there that you can't do at home in the Netherlands?
Well, it's very difficult to pinpoint the feeling because it's a feeling.
Yeah.
And I know that everybody I talk to has that same feeling, but it's really hard to describe what that feeling is.
Right.
Because it's within you. There's something here, like the blue zones. Mm-hmm. And you have those blue zones in the world. And story goes that there's like a meridian. I don't know if you call it like that, like
meridian
a
line.
Across the Algarve.
Right.
That gives you that energy, that provides that.
I didn't know that.
Vibe. Yeah, I don't know if it's true because it's a story I heard a long time ago. I use it, but I don't know if it's that okay, if it's true. But that's what I feel, and that would be a logical explanation for it. But it's something that you need to feel, and it's something that I long for when I'm in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Because I feel the difference. I feel the pushiness from the Netherlands, and I feel the easiness of the Algarve.
Well, that was a word you mentioned earlier. You said that when you're in the Algarve, you just can make everything seem quite seamless, and managing these 3 businesses and being this, multi-passionate entrepreneur, like we said earlier. I think that's what the energy does for you, isn't it? It allows you to make that look easy.
yeah, it is easier because I can make decisions easier and with a sense of knowing that it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And that's different from how I feel when I'm home in the Netherlands, because then I feel, okay, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to make sure that. So, and I don't think I think, okay, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I really don't know why. That is really something that you need to feel. Mm-hmm. And you only feel that when you are here. Because I talk to workation when they come for a week, and I say, okay, what have you gotten out of it? What did you learn? And they all say, you're right, there is something here that's so different from home.
Yeah.
Wherever that is.
Something that struck me when I was in Ferragudo was that the lifestyle there, and I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, but as an onlooker, and, you know, we were so fortunate to meet, obviously, you and the rest of Alicia's friendship group, which is wonderful. And I can see how that's a big draw as well, is to have this community of like-minded people. And one thing that comes to my mind is it felt like the life out there was much more simple. Much more simple. And by that, I mean less decision making, less choices to make, less, and that, for me, that's a lot of that push and pull at home, is just having to make so many decisions and choices and tick so many boxes every day and manage so many services and things around you, you know. And in Ferragudo, it felt like life was just a lot simpler. It felt like there weren't that many decisions to make in a day. Does that resonate?
Okay, when you live here, of course, it's different than when you are on holiday. If I would act like a tourist, I would gain 20 pounds and and my bank account was empty.
Yeah.
So there's a real difference between that. So if you're here for a couple of days, then you don't feel that pressure. But we still, when I work here and I live here, and I still need to make decisions, I still need to do stuff. But because the energy around me is so different, it makes it easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it makes it not so complex anymore.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. It's not as complex.
Yeah. And if you embrace that, and you also embrace the international community here, because you were talking about the friends of Alicia, because I've met so many people from all types of backgrounds and from different areas in the world. And if you embrace that, then you can make friends for a lifetime.
Absolutely.
Because the people I know here, where I call my friends, we understand each other. We know why we are here. We know why we want to work here. We know why we want to live here. And that's something that everybody should know. I don't mean that everybody should come to Portugal and live here, or to Ferragudo, or there are not enough houses, so not do that. No. But yeah, you have to feel for yourself and experience for yourself.
I think what I'm hearing is that it's important to be intentional about where you are. And we all need to think about that. You know, am I working here in my home office by default or intentionally because it makes me feel good? For me, probably a bit of both at the moment. I'd like a bit more space, you know, and those are things that I can intentionally change. And I think for anyone who's made that big decision like you made to go and work in Ferragudo and live in Ferragudo and embrace that community, I think it is about that really deep knowing that I'm here because this is what I've chosen. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can help with that decision. If an entrepreneur says, okay, I don't know why, I don't know when, I don't know how. And I use the color test as well for that. The color assessment, I use it as well.
Interesting.
You know where to go, because then you know where your North Star is. Through this test, you know how to get there.
Yeah.
So, for example, in the Netherlands, I also have a home office in the Netherlands, and I painted the walls in my balance color because every time I walk in there, it's like an oasis for me because I'm instantly calm because it gives me so much calm, confidence. It does a lot for me. So if you can do that also with your decision making of, do I want to go there? Do I want to live there? What do I want to do with my life? So I can help those people who are wondering what to do with their lives. I can help them as well with that.
Yeah. The colour coaching, I am honestly not that much of a one for trying things like that. I'm really not. So I suppose there was a bit of me that was like, really? But I honestly, when I went through the process and it was as much about the conversation we had around it afterwards as well. So it was everything. Yeah. It was the thought process that went into filling out the assessment. It was like getting the report and just being blown away at how accurate it was and how much it spoke directly to me. And then also having you there to kind of talk to about it afterwards as well. It was really potent. It was, I would urge anyone who's listening, get in touch with Sandra because it's a really, potent thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put links to everything in the show notes. So
we have a personal power test and we have like a smaller test. You did the half.
Well, I want the big one now.
If you want the whole test, then we add your blueprint and we also add your impact color. And that's a very different kind of ball game because then you focus on branding, for example. Yeah. Everything else that revolves around you, around your environment. And it's not just your power color and your balance color, and your the color of your desire, but it's so much more. And it gives even more information than a disc or a management insight tool would give.
I absolutely agree. Yeah. And I think, there are disc and things are for slightly different purposes, but in terms of like personal insight, I think it's given me more than any of the other ones I've done, like the Myers-Briggs and disc and things like that. I think this one is a really powerful one. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. But you know that you change because I did the disc test as well years ago and I was blue-green. Mm-hmm. And now I'm yellow-red in the disc.
I wonder if you're blue-green in the Netherlands and yellow-red in Ferragudo.
No, I did the test in the Netherlands. I did the personal power test as well, and then red was really my color. I'm all red. Yeah. And I'm air and I'm fire. So I like to inspire, which is true. Mm-hmm. And I also have this passion and ambition, and that's also true.
Which you do. And your passion, your multi-passion, as I like to keep calling it, is serving you pretty well, right? It's serving you pretty well. I mean, you've made the dream happen for yourself. If you're listening to this and you're limiting yourself and your choices, I think, Sandra, you're just such a perfect example of how you can unlimit yourself.
Yeah.
And actually not compromise, because that's what you haven't done. You haven't compromised. You came to Ferragudo. You could see yourself living and working there. You made that happen.
Yeah, but it took a lot of meditation, visualization. And every time I got something, I moved forward. So this boundary I crossed. Mm-hmm. So now I'm going to the other one. So I'm moving on. I keep moving on.
Yeah. Oh, Sandra, thank you so much for coming on today. I think this is going to be a really inspirational episode for people who kind of, aren't being intentional about curating the life they want, the business they want, and are maybe believing that there's only one thing they can do. Well, we're going to call some bullshit on that because you can do whatever you decide to do.
True. And I love that I'm an inspirational source for people.
Absolutely.
Because that gives me inspiration as well.
Oh, I love that. Wonderful. You are so lovely. I absolutely love our conversation. So thank you so much for coming on the show. If someone wants to just find out more about you right now, where can they head to?
Well, they can send me an email.
Mm-hmm. What's that email address?
Sandra@businessmanager.nu, or Sandra@ferragudodreams.com,
Mm-hmm.
or they can go to my websites, businessmanager.nu or ferragudodreams.com.
Perfect. And I'll put all those links into the show notes, and also check out...
Or social media, of course.
And on social media, of course. Yes, of course. And again, I'll put the links in, and check out Sandra's podcast, Ferragudo Dreaming, because that is wonderful too. So...
yeah, we got some very interesting guests coming up as well. So
awesome.
Portuguese.
Wonderful. Yeah. Oh, it'll be so interesting to get their take on having these crazy American and Dutch women in their midst.
Yeah. I think they love it.
Yeah, of course they love it.
Yeah.
Of course they love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. Well, bye for now.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao, Jill.
I hope you enjoyed this episode, and that getting our heads together this week has filled your mind with what's possible. If you love the show, would you do me a massive favour, please? Would you leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts? It would really help me put more heads together, reach more ears, and expand more minds. Until next week, bye for now.